Begin speech in a calm, piercing tone with pauses for depth. There are moments in life where time doesn't just pass, it decides. You may think 3 hours is nothing, just 3 hours, one movie, one scroll through your phone, one evening wasted in distraction. But if consciously used, these 3 hours can shape the next 30 years of your life, because your future is not a coincidence, it is a consequence of how present, how awake, how willing you are right now. You see, people spend decades trying to fix their careers, relationships, their peace, their joy. But what if I told you that by turning inward for just 3 hours, not with distraction, but with absolute intensity, you can begin a journey that rewrites the whole direction of your life? 3 hours of silence, 3 hours of conscious breathing, 3 hours of watching the circus of your own thoughts without joining the performance. That's all it takes to begin the greatest revolution, the inner one. Your future is not something floating in the air, waiting to surprise you. It is being crafted silently, invisibly by the way you think, feel, act, and exist in this very moment. Most people live as if life is happening to them. They wait, they wish, they hope. But life doesn't yield to wishes, it responds to awareness. Every choice you make, every habit you repeat, every thought you entertain, these are the bricks with which your future is built. Whether you are conscious of it or not, you are constantly planting seeds. And these seeds will grow, some will bear fruit, others may become thorns, but none of them are accidents. The question is not what will happen to me, the question is how consciously will I shape what happens through me. This is not about control, this is about clarity. When your actions come from clarity, not compulsion, your future becomes a living design, not a random mess. Most people pray for a good life while acting blindly. But life is not waiting for your prayers, it is responding to your presence. In this very moment, you are shaping the next hour, the next year, the next decade. If you can grasp this truth, not just intellectually but experientially, then 3 hours of conscious living will do more for your destiny than 30 years of unconscious striving. 3 hours may seem small, but they contain the same power as 30 years if lived with full intensity. What you call the future is not a mystery unfolding somewhere far away. It is a direct reflection of how you manage your inner space now. Life doesn't happen in bulk, it happens moment by moment, breath by breath. So if this moment is handled with awareness, with precision, the ripple it creates will carry into every corner of your future. People keep asking, what will happen to me? But that's not the question. The real question is, what kind of soil am I cultivating inside myself? Because the fruit is not magic, it grows from the root. If your inner soil is confusion, distraction, laziness, don't expect clarity and success to bloom. But if your inner soil is attention, discipline, and intensity, even the most unlikely future can flower. You are not a victim of fate, you are a participant in creation. You may not control the winds, but you absolutely control the direction of your sail. These 3 hours are your chance to grip the wheel. Sit, become conscious of your thought patterns, your energy, your emotional direction. If you can see the mess inside without judgment and begin the work of straightening it, even a little, life will start to arrange itself around your clarity. So stop gambling with your future as if it's a lottery. It's not. It's a mirror, and it reflects not your dreams, not what you call your future is not waiting somewhere in the clouds to fall into place. It is breathing through your present actions, your present thoughts, your present presence. There is no sharp line where today ends and tomorrow begins. They are woven together like breath and body. If you live this moment unconsciously, then unconsciousness becomes the seed of your future. If you live it with clarity and attention, that clarity becomes the foundation of everything to come. You cannot sow thorns and expect roses. You cannot live half-heartedly and expect a full life. Every moment you live without awareness is like handing your future to randomness. But the beauty of life is this: the future is not written in stone, it is being written in silence, through your choices, your focus, and your ability to respond instead of react. People often say, let's see what life brings. But life brings nothing unless you bring something to it. It reflects you. If you are scattered, it becomes chaotic. If you are focused, it becomes a tool. These next 3 hours, if used with complete sincerity, not just mechanically, but with deep involvement, can tilt the direction of your entire journey. Not because 3 hours are magical, but because those 3 hours can awaken you, and it is your awakening that holds the power to transform everything. So understand this clearly: the future is not about luck. It is about alignment. It is not a gift. It is a response, and how life responds to you entirely depends on how you are right now. Your future is not hidden in the stars. It is embedded in the way you handle this moment. People talk of destiny as if it's some mysterious script written by forces beyond them, but in truth, destiny is shaped in the silence between your thoughts, in the intention behind your actions, in the discipline of how you manage your time, energy, and emotions. If you spend the next 3 hours sharpening your awareness, calming your inner storms, and aligning yourself with clarity, then those hours will echo not just through tomorrow, but through the decades to come. Life is deeply intelligent. It does not reward noise. It responds to coherence. If you are fragmented within, life around you will reflect that fragmentation. If you are anchored, steady, clear, even in the face of chaos, life will begin to organize itself around that stillness. This is not philosophy. It is a living mechanics of existence. You may not always get to choose your circumstances, but you always choose your response, and that response becomes the blueprint of your future. 3 distracted hours may pass like smoke, but 3 conscious hours have the power to set fire to inertia, to burn through the layers of unconscious living that have silently directed your life. So look within, not casually but fiercely. Observe the patterns, the reactions, the resistances, and in that observation, transformation begins. Because when you see clearly, you no longer act blindly, and when you no longer act blindly, the future is no longer a gamble. It becomes a reflection, a beautiful, intentional consequence of a moment well lived. The idea that your future simply happens is one of the most dangerous illusions. Nothing about you is accidental. Your thoughts are not random, they follow patterns. Your emotions are not spontaneous, they are trained reactions. Your actions are not isolated, they are expressions of the inner atmosphere you have cultivated over time. If you do not become conscious of these patterns now, they will shape your future without your permission. The next 30 years are not lying in wait. They are quietly being assembled by the way you handle the next 3 hours. If these hours are wasted in distraction, laziness, or confusion, then those qualities become your roadmap. If these hours are spent with attention, stillness, and purpose, then that too becomes your path. It is not a question of whether your future will be built. It will be. The only question is, will you be the architect or just the passenger? Look around. People often repeat the same year 30 times and call it a life. That's not a future, that's a loop. And the loop continues not because of fate, but because of unawareness. If you want to step out of the cycle, you must first become aware of it. And that awareness begins now. Not tomorrow, not next year. So these 3 hours, don't treat them lightly. They are not just time, they are the doorway. If you walk through them consciously, you are not just spending time, you are shaping time. The future is you don't stumble into your future. You walk into it step by conscious step. Even if you are unaware of the road you're on, your footsteps are still carving a direction. That is the profound truth. Whether you're asleep or awake to it, you are always in motion, always creating. The real question is, are you the sculptor of your future, or just the clay being shaped by passing winds? Every small act, every repeated thought, every emotional reaction is not isolated, it compounds. Just like a river carves through rock over time, your unconscious patterns carve the shape of your life. Most people think the big moments shape their future, but it's the invisible ones, the routine choices, the unnoticed habits, the silent attitudes, that truly determine the course. Now imagine you take 3 hours, not ordinary hours, but hours of deep presence, not just sitting idly, but turning inward with sharp attention. watching the mechanics of your mind and emotion like a scientist, like a seeker. In those 3 hours, you could begin to interrupt the autopilot, to steer the ship. That conscious interruption, that break in the cycle, could redirect the flow of everything that comes after. The future doesn't respond to dreams, it responds to alignment. If your body, mind, emotion, and energy begin to move in one direction, the universe has no choice but to yield. That kind of alignment doesn't happen by chance. It happens through intense awareness, and that awareness begins with a decision. A decision to stop blaming fate and to start becoming deeply responsible for the shape of your existence. So understand this not as motivation but as truth. The next 30 years are already whispering their shape in how you handle this very moment. You don't need to predict the future. You only need to pay attention to how you're living now, because your future is not waiting to be discovered. It's waiting to be consciously created. So, what you do with the next 3 hours is not a small matter. It is not about a technique, a trick, or a quick fix. It is about reclaiming the steering wheel of your life. If you can sit with yourself in complete honesty, without escape, without distraction, and simply observe your thoughts, your compulsions, your breath, your being, then something profound begins to shift. You are no longer living by accident. You are no longer a reaction. You are becoming a response. And in that shift, the whole trajectory of your life can change. Not in 30 years, but now. This is not philosophy. This is the mechanics of how life functions. Awareness is the most powerful force you have, and you don't need a lifetime to access it. You need just 3 hours of genuine involvement. And if you offer that sincerely, then the next 30 years will not be something that happens to you. They will be a conscious unfolding of what you have become. Don't wait for life to wake you up through pain or loss. Use these 3 hours to awaken yourself, because the future is not coming. It is already being born in you right here, right now.